What is going on, everybody? It is episode 767 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. It is a beautiful day out here, and I am with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. It's Tuesday, and today we are spilling the tea, sis. We're spilling the scalding hot tea for all of you. Brett hates it.
I was telling Mary before the show, I said, I'm sorry, I'm far too heterosexual to use that for a phrase in the title, but I was overruled apparently because nothing else really fit there.
I mean, it really is an applicable situation here,
yes,
because Justin Baldoni is, in fact, spilling the tea for all of us. He's coming with the receipts. So we're going to be queening out, kikiing,
You're taking it
voguing.
too far. Please stop.
We're going to be voguing all day.
Okay. I'm going to walk up and leave. I'm going to stand up and leave.
We're slaying boots the house down.
All right. Mothering.
Mothering.
Okay.
I mean, serving cunt. It's just all of the things. So,
All of those things. All of those things. Yes.
straightest podcast ever.
We got a bunch of stuff to get into, but before we get started, guys, hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel. If you have not subscribed here yet already, the best way to help the channel grow, if you do feel inclined to do so, is to share it out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people that you like, people that you don't like, a mortal enemy if you have one. Perhaps I am your mortal enemy because you didn't like the crisis party sound from yesterday.
I think they don't want the show to grow and they want to keep it all to themselves. I think the crisis actors are gatekeeping the show by not sharing it. And you're gaslighting us.
I understand the impulse, but it does us a disservice.
Yeah. Well, just give us an update. Did you make the crisis sound louder?
Look, I was at the doctor today. I don't
Okay,
know.
you had a lot going on.
We'll have to wait and see.
You had a lot going on.
We'll have to wait and see.
It's a surprise?
We'll wait and see, guys. We got a bunch of stuff to get into. The first thing that we're going to talk about is, of course, as Mary described, the tea between Justin Baldoni leaving breathy late-night voicemails.
They are.
It's just the way he talks.
Justin Baldoni lost a huge career opportunity in not becoming a phone sex operator.
He could have done that. I mean, he's a couple years too late, you know.
Right.
If he had been his age in the 80s, he would have had a golden opportunity to do that for a living. But we're going to listen to it. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about Blake Lively apparently being an absolute nightmare on set on the show Gossip Girl. I don't really know how much I want to believe or take heed from, bitter extras who just want to get their 15 minutes of fame. But, everyone's kind of piling on right now and everyone's trying to get theirs. But we'll go through it and we'll talk about it. Also, guys, Trump has only been in office like 8 days and he's already gotten Zendaya out of Spider-Man. I don't know how the guy does it, but no.
By executive order.
By executive order.
He was like, which one is this? Oh, the one where we're recasting Zendaya in Spider-Man 4. Okay, got it.
Adam Ledgways in the chat says, Brett, PCC is completely blocked in my subscriptions. I had to come to the channel. Suppression, YouTube. Why you gotta be doing that? We didn't do nothing to you. We got limited ad revenue on the show yesterday, and that hasn't happened since the election. So before the election, I'm not one to call shenanigans or say that there was somebody conspiring against channels such as ours, but every episode leading up to the election, we got the dreaded yellow limited monetization symbol, which means that you're not monetizing shit that day on the live show. It would never happen to the segments. It would only happen to the live streams.
That's
now, maybe
weird.
it's because I'm using language like I just used right there, but I've been using that language recently too, and we haven't had it happen.
I did say see you next Tuesday within the first 2 minutes of the show, but it's fine. We're so oppressed by YouTube, the big tech censors.
They're out to get us, guys.
They're out to get us.
So we got a bunch of other stuff to get into. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're ready, Mary, we can just go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and get started then, show. So I want to talk to you guys today about Captain America: Brave New World. Well, the star of the upcoming Captain America movie would like you to know that the worst part about that name is the word America, because apparently you don't have to even like being from America to play Captain America. This is his actual quote, and we'll listen to it just for context. He says, Captain America, this is Anthony Mackie, of course. He says, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term America should be one of those representations. If this was a well-edited video, there would have been a record scratch right there. And then it would have just been me doing the J.D. Vance stare at you. He goes on. It's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable. I feel like he's saying that those aren't qualities that America represents by saying that America has anything to do with it. That, or it's weird globalist slop, in which case he should just be Captain Planet, but Captain Planet is already taken. It's a real thing. I had to explain Captain Planet to Mary.
You're right. That might be the implication that he's making, that, you know, American values are not values of a good guy in the narrative.
The problem is Captain America is an actual individual who's supposed to represent the best of the American value system. Now, he was created, much like Superman, as wartime propaganda. He punched communists and Nazis alike. But and we'll listen to the quote, but the first thing I thought of, because we're going to show a lot of people dunked on this. I mean, endless people. I sent like an hour last night sending myself tweets of people dunking on this. But the first thing I thought of, because the people pushing back on it were saying that, look, you know, he's not necessarily agreeing with the government, but that's always been true. If you guys remember in the movie Captain America Winter Soldier, which in my opinion is still the best depiction of the character, he has a back and forth right at the very beginning with Nick Fury about the values of Project Insight, where basically Nick Fury is the government overreach. He's got a bunch of basically WMDs orbiting the sky, ready to take out people at a moment's notice. He wants to preemptively kill bad guys, and Captain America says it's by holding a gun to people's head and calling it protection. Whereas Nick Fury says S.H.I.E.L.D. takes the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. Captain America represents hope and eternal optimism in the human condition, which is representative of American-held values. What he's saying here is really, really stupid.
Wait. Do I disagree with Captain America?
You probably do. You're probably Team Nick Fury in this all the way.
I'm questioning everything
I know for a fact you're Team Nick Fury all the way.
Yeah, we're gonna preemptively kill the bad guys. Yes, we are. Yes.
That's so he goes. We're
going to launch them to Mars.
I remember he says the satellites can read a terrorist's DNA as they come out of their hidey hole. I'm like, I don't know how that works, but it sounds cool. But he basically says that the point is to minimize casualties and kill terrorists before they can act.
Yeah. That seems like common sense to me, but you know what? If that's the way they want to write Captain America's character, that's his moral value system.
That's literally the whole point.
Stay true to that in the next one. But we have a 20 from the Manic Mustache before we do. Late as usual, but apropos to the thought of baked goods. Mr. Dasovich, why do you believe that most women think that men want to be hobos? Ms. Morgan, why do you believe that most men want to be hobos? Stay toxic, my friends.
Did I say that? Was I on some bullshit one day?
There are some multiple like layers to those statements, but I was just told by men that all men want to be hobos. I was just fact checking that on the show and seeing if men would corroborate the statement, and they did. They said they all really want to live the hobo lifestyle, at least for a little while, and then they return back. Like, it means homeward bound.
Well, it was like when
it's about going on a journey.
It was like when that woman made the video about men wanting quests.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's listen to what Anthony Mackie had to say. I went off on a bit of a tangent here.
By the way, is he saying this outside of the U.S.?
Yes,
he's saying this to
Italy.
a non-American audience.
The best argument that I saw was somebody saying that he's softening it to give it to a globalist audience, meaning that. But here's the thing. I don't care. It's Captain America. It's not Captain Worldwide or Mr. Worldwide. It's not
Mr. Worldwide.
It's not Mr. Worldwide. It's not any of those things. It's Captain America. Look, I saw somebody in the chat earlier mention like Japan loves Goku. Like represented them at the Olympics. They also love Godzilla. Godzilla does a lot of damage and a lot of collateral damage when it comes to Godzilla. It's not a bad thing to have idols that are tied to your country's nationalism. It's not. So let's listen to what he has to say.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. Like, it's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is...
I feel like he's saying by that divide that those don't represent American values. He's trying to make it an individualist statement when Captain America is inherently not an individual. He is representative of a nation, of a culture.
He's implying that honor and dignity and integrity are somehow at odds with Americanism.
Which so also that ties it back to government, right? Captain America is representative of the whole point in that conversation again with Nick Fury is he talks about freedom, and we fought for freedom, and Fury says, look, you were part of the silent or the greatest generation. You guys did some bad shit. He goes, yes, because we did so with the hopes that the population would be free. What you're doing here by preemptively trying to kill bad guys and, you know, sorting out the casualties after the fact is not freedom, it's tyranny. So it doesn't change his value system. His value system runs at odds from the government from time to time. But I guess you could say that is a theme in this upcoming movie because in it, Thunderbolt Ross wants to bring him back in and use him as both as an agent of the government. Mm-hmm. So I guess that theme could matter, but I don't think that he's being that specific here. I think he's trying to go off on an intellectual tangent and it's just not connecting.
Yeah.
Trustworthy and dependable. You know, it's kind of, this is kind of like an aspect of a dream coming true. You know, when I was a kid, you know, all of us as actors, I believe, want to get back to that day before someone told you no. When you look out your door and you see a 5-year-old kid with a stick and he's slaying dragons to save the princess in the tower, that kid really believes there are dragons out there. That stick is really a sword and he's really trying to save that princess. And
what if the kid is outside playing as Captain America and he really believes in Captain America?
You're going to tell him no?
Then one day somebody told him, no, there are no dragons, that's not a sword, and that princess is not there. And all of his little dreams were dashed.
Okay. Okay. And we had another quote here. Another video here.
Yeah. Well, on a separate occasion, in an interview, Anthony Mackie...
He makes it about, like, the racial stuff. Like, I don't even... it's just so extraneous, and I don't even care. Like, to me, the sad part... We'll play it, but the point is like, it makes it worse. But, bro, you're like a week out from... Like, 2 weeks out from the release of it. You could have said literally anything other than, I don't think it should represent America. Like, even if you believe it, I'm comfortable with you lying in this case to make your studio some money.
But I think that he is using this as an opportunity to talk about his views on race and critical theory.
Captain America Black, what kind of opportunity and if you want, what kind of challenge was
it's a leading question.
It is.
It was huge.
But he jumped on it.
For many different reasons. I feel like it's just as important for black kids to see a black Captain America as white kids to see a black Captain America. Growing up, one of my favorite superheroes was green, you know? So it wasn't about race. It wasn't about, you know, anything. It was just
those statements contradict each other.
Yeah.
You said it was important for both white kids and black kids to see a black Captain America, but then you point out that one of your favorite superheroes was green, which has no correlation whatsoever because there aren't actually green people in the world unless they're sick and about to throw up. So unless you're making some statement on the ill.
About him being a good guy and trying to do the right thing. And I think imagery is important. You know, my son is 15 years old and his world is so different than mine. When I went to school, my school was 99% black. And now his school is like 50%, 40% white. So when he has a soccer game or an event, you have Latino kids, you have white kids, you have Asian kids all playing together. So I think it's very important for kids of all races to be able to watch something and have someone to look up to. No matter what they look like, you can see that package comes with a good human being as opposed to what they've been perceived as by everyone else.
I'll give him this. It was a leading question. My statement to the contrary would be that in playing Falcon as Sam Wilson, he also played a character that you can look up to that was worthy of your time and attention, and that taking on the role of Captain America when many believe that it should go to Bucky is a bit of a contradiction because it doesn't really prove anything he just said. It's just saying that this specific character that he's going to portray is good. Well, the other character was good too. Why be this one specifically? But I won't even put that one on him because I think that the guy asked him the leading question and he went with it.
They tend to ask these leading questions that corner actors into addressing social issues or race issues or politics, and you can sidestep it and give the right media trained response where you can kind of go around it. It's a really strange answer that he gave, though, because once he's acknowledging that it didn't matter to him that he wasn't represented in media, but then asserting that it is important to represent.
Perhaps he's saying that he doesn't want his
media.
son. He feels that his son deserves to grow up with representation that he didn't get. Look, but that's
but
not.
He's admitting that it didn't matter, and it's almost like he's implying that you need Captain America to be black because it will convince people that it's possible for black people to have like integrity and all these other traits that he listed,
which has nothing to do with entertainment at all. Like, but believe it or not, guys, the last place I go for advice
So
on
bizarre.
integrity is Hollywood. I just laugh because when you think about the traits of Captain America, courage, bravery, I think of self-sacrifice. I think about that scene in Captain America, the First Avenger, when he jumps on top of the grenade without a thought to his own well-being. Hope for the future, loyalty, and leadership, because a big part of it is that, he starts off as the runt of the litter who grows, not just through the serum, but grows to become a leader of men. And that is important. Those are universal traits that don't require a skin color for someone to possess, nor do they need to be possessed by Captain America specifically. But I want to go through just some of the responses that I thought were the funniest, because right now, irrespective of everything that he's saying, your movie is box office middling. The projections aren't great. It's looking to open to under $100 million. You are kind of in a period right now where you can't afford any bad press. And that's exactly what this gives it. So I just took a bunch of them. So Geeky Sparkles from Clownfish TV says, when your film isn't tracking great, it might be a bad idea to say moronic things like this. Also, if this is how he feels, he should have declined the role. Verbal Riot says Captain America shouldn't represent America. Maybe Tyler Perry will throw him some mercy work after this shit show bombs.
Tyler Perry.
Leave Tyler Perry alone. I won't accept the Tyler Perry
The
slander here.
drive-by there is crazy.
Lorena Creole says, bruh, America is in the character's hero name. Captain America. Don't be a tool.
Yeah.
Thorius Unlimited says Captain keeps his word, just doesn't have the same zing to it.
Captain Integrity.
I mean, that does sound like it would be like in a spin-off or like a parody.
Yeah.
Captain Integrity. Aaron Sparrow says, no Cap, not interested in seeing a Captain America movie that has no Cap and even less America. Razor Fist says, for me, Pizza Hut represents a lot of things, and I don't think the term pizza should be one of those things. Douglas Ernst says, all Anthony had to do was say Captain America is a man who strives to realize America's ideals, even though its people are always working for a more perfect union, but instead he offered a mishmash of ridiculousness. Well, I'm going to be fair, like, his wording was pretty eloquent. I don't know if, like, you could be like, he should have just said this really eloquent phrase, but
I mean,
he should have come up with something.
I wasn't expecting him to sit there and start talking up America and praising our political system or something. I wouldn't have expected that, but it's the distance he's creating between the character and American identity.
Well, I mean, people have done the same thing to
definitely a
Superman.
choice.
They've done to Superman as well, which is like he's no longer representative of America. He has to be a global hero. He can't be a hero just for America. But that's also a product of living in a more globalized society where even if you want to go away from the comics themselves and just talk about how it's adapted to screen, those studios are no longer making movies for just one audience anymore because they have to worry about a global box office. But when you try to make everyone happy, you end up making no one happy.
I have a feeling that when this underperforms, Anthony Mackie's going to take it really rough.
Look, he can go back to Twisted Metal. He was great in Twisted Metal. That show ruled. I was literally like when we were talking.
He
I was
wants more
typing
clout. He does it. He wants to be a movie star, not a streaming actor.
So this
He's
guy's
going to take it to the heart.
This guy says he represents the ideals of America. He doesn't represent a political ideology or administration. He represents an ideal and a dream. I don't know why people are ashamed of stripping patriotic heroes of the American title. I agree. And one more. So it says Captain America is meant to represent the greatest values of America. He's a patriot who'd give anything to keep his homeland and those he loves safe while maintaining his morals. It's part of what makes him such a powerful leader, and the fact that Marvel can't see that is dire. I would put this on the same scale as the worry that I got yesterday from the guy making Daredevil Born Again, who seems to want to strip out some of the best parts of that show and give us just more mishmash slop, which I love slop, don't get me wrong, but if you're actually capable of doing the dialogue well, you should do it. So
I think it's going to underperform for much different reasons, because obviously, as we always say, people who are like the average theater goer has no clue what Anthony Mackie is saying in interviews.
Yes, of course.
And has no clue, like the average person on their couch looking for something to watch while they eat dinner has no clue what the Daredevil showrunner is saying about, nobody knows any of this stuff except for us. It's not relevant.
When I was talking to the doctor today, I mentioned Captain, they were talking about my work and we were talking about Captain America. Like, another one? They literally had no idea there was a new Captain America coming out.
Yes, like they don't know.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most anticipated, maybe they said the most anticipated blockbuster of 2025. Like, this is where we're at now.
It comes out on President's Day, so it's got a long weekend.
I thought it was Valentine's Day.
Isn't it? It's the same weekend. I'm saying
it's President's Day weekend. Is that intentional as well? Is that why?
Yeah, it gives them a long weekend.
Because I asked you and you were like, oh no, it's because it's Black History Month.
That is part of it.
Did they say that?
No, doesn't matter.
It just seems that way.
They did it that way on purpose. Yes. Nobody can convince me that they didn't.
Well, if I wasn't convinced before, I am now.
Yeah.
For sure.
Again, I don't believe the $180 million budget that they're reporting. We're going to have to wait and see how that one gets debunked later, but I don't believe it. Maybe the first shooting of it was, but I don't believe that by the time it came out. The whole Seth Rollins arc that he had is gone. They've reshot this movie 2 or 3 times. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not exactly hopeful. I'm going to go see it anyways, but I'm hoping that at some point somebody goes, yeah, I'm Captain America. Every time he says, Captain. Actually, that would be really fun. That'd be a great, okay. If he goes on SNL, but I wouldn't be surprised if they end up sending him to SNL before the movie comes out to promote it. Do a whole thing where he's ashamed to call himself Captain America. So he's like, Captain America.
Yeah.
Captain America. That'd be great. All right.
Laugh at yourself. Let's do a post-mortem, shall we, on The Acolyte and revisit the steaming pile that is Amandla Stenberg's career now. Deadline recently reported that The Acolyte was the second most watched show on Disney Plus in 2024. Yet it was canceled after 1 season, before the first season was even barely sitting out for a while. They just decided we're getting rid of this
because it cost $180 gazillion to make.
Too much of a gamble
holy crap,
for them.
The Acolyte had the same budget as Captain America: Brave New World.
Allegedly. If you want to believe the Brave New World numbers. But, now Amandla Stenberg is out of a job and she has to look for new work, and Disney doesn't want her anymore. So it looks like her next role is playing a princess in a movie that is based on a book series. So her new role is announced in Gina Prince Bythewood's, if I said that correctly, movie adaptation of Children of Blood and Bone, which is a book series I've never heard of before. Based on a popular West African-inspired young adult romantic fantasy novel written by Tommy Adeyemi, and this is being produced by Paramount. She confirmed that she's playing the character Amari Olubori in the film, who is the crown princess of the fictional country of Orisha. Here is the description of the character. A strong-willed and compassionate young woman, despite being raised in the lap of luxury, she harbors a deep sense of empathy for the oppressed. When she crosses paths with Zelly and Zayn, she is drawn to their cause and offers her support. Amari's knowledge of the royal court and her ability to navigate the treacherous waters of politics prove invaluable to the resistance. So she's going to need to really ramp up her acting ability.
No, I mean, it says that she really has a deep understanding of the oppressed, and I watched that twerking video. She clearly gets it.
Oh yeah. She's not effing with their discourse, and
I hope she actually says that in the
she is able to expertly navigate the treacherous
If I have to
waters
choose
of
between
politics.
Amandla Stenberg and Maria Sten from Reacher, I take Maria Sten all day.
So this is like some kind of knockoff version of Wakanda, and she's the princess of it, basically.
I guess. Looks like it.
It's weird, though, because it seems like even the woke people you would expect to universally celebrate Amandla Stenberg and this next step that she's taking in her career are throwing her under the bus right now. They don't like her anymore.
Why?
Because she is now facing backlash for colorism. She is taking this role from an actor of a darker skin tone.
Anything that comes from book talk is going to be subject to this type of discussion. Like, it sucks, but that's going to happen. They're going to have this type of discussion the whole way through.
The book talk fandom is dragging her.
You don't
right
get
now.
to, like, if you think of what happened when they cast Scarlett Johansson in The Ghost in the Shell, but like lower it down to like a microscopic level of importance, meaning something with way less social relevance than that series had, and you're going to continue to have those arguments. It's not about trans.
This is incredibly niche, too.
Or Asian. Now it's about colorism, and that's it's kind of the byproduct of the internet. Like, these things are always going to happen, and to be completely fair, something like this doesn't get greenlit unless there's at least people having some type of argument about it. So it makes sense.
And these book talk freaks, we've talked about the book talk freaks on the show before, but they really are some of the craziest people on the internet, the easiest to anger, and they form pitchfork mobs over just about anything. I think I texted you one time saying that I was just sitting in a coffee shop and I overhear this girl talking to her friend on the other side of the room, and she's ranting about how she has a popular book talk account on TikTok, and she's getting like an avalanche of hate from all of these book talk weirdos who are trying to force her to talk about politics.
It was like right after I told you that I got engaged, and you're like, you're not going to believe this.
It's insane, because you were telling me you were like kind of making a foray into the whole world of like book talk and
not
wokeness
into
in book talk world.
Yeah, I found like a YouTube creator who was like it's probably the only conservative female in all of book talk. I wish I knew her channel name right now, because she made some great videos that I thought were pretty interesting. But I was just like, man, these people are even more insane than because you know what? It's all wine aunt, middle-aged, antidepressant-laden women with nothing better to do than to rant about something that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, or teenage girls.
I imagine that the most vicious are probably the middle-aged women on antidepressants.
They all need to get a hobby. Point being, these people are Looney Tunes, and at
they're
this
asking
point,
what the F book talk is. No, it's talk as in TikTok. Book talk.
TikTok. Yeah, it's book talk is the niche on TikTok of women who claim to be voracious readers, but they actually just read porn.
Yeah, it says she's facing colorism backlash for her role.
Yeah, so, I mean, at this point, Amandla Stenberg must feel like she just can't win, because with her role in The Acolyte and all of these comments that she made promoting The Acolyte, yes.
Okay, I don't see a great difference there.
Well, that's just an illustration. It's not the way that she's described in the book.
But hey, I've been reliably told that Severus Snape can look like anybody these days.
Yeah, Snape could be black.
Yeah.
Why not? But you know, with her role in The Acolyte and her promotion tour for The Acolyte, she completely turned a whole side of the internet against her and was just like raked over the coals. Not saying she didn't ask for it, but that is what happened. And then she thought, like, maybe I could find a more friendly audience taking on this role in a smaller franchise. It's lower stakes, and most of the fans of this IP are woke-tards like me, right? So it'll be fine. No, they still found a problem with her. And I found some of their responses to the announcement of her casting quite telling. Here was one. Wherever there is a place for dark skin representation, you will for some reason find Amandla Stenberg there.
Wow, they're like they're not even making it like a universal problem. They're saying she's the issue.
They're saying she's a repeat offender because Amandla Stenberg, as you know, is half white. So they think she was stealing this role from a darker skinned actress.
One thing that people on both sides of the aisle will always seem to fail to understand, and I think just pragmatically speaking, that the industry that these people work in is unbelievably competitive and hard to succeed in. I'm never going to personally, I don't begrudge Anthony Mackie taking the role. I'm never going to begrudge somebody taking the role and feeding their family. Doesn't mean that there isn't place there for criticism, but at least on like a personal level, I can absolutely understand being like, look, I don't know anything about all that, but I got kids to feed and put through private school, so I'm going to take this role.
Right. I don't begrudge anyone that, but it's the fact that Amandla Stenberg and now Anthony Mackie and all of these people take the opportunity to talk shit about fans, talk shit about the story that they're part of, make it about themselves, make the focal point their worldview.
Yeah.
And kind of steal the spotlight. Even though they're the talent, they're stealing the spotlight for themselves instead of their character.
Would love to see some type of sitcom made about like, especially given everything that's going on with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, of some like PR person who just follows their clients around while they're doing press tours for movies as they say the absolute wrong thing all the time.
I would not be able to get enough of that.
Yeah. Please.
Like, I want that to be a thing. But here is a description of Amandla's character just to confirm that the fans feel they have an argument here. Amari, a princess from Lagos who is also struggling against the prejudices of her own family, has darker skin than what is valued in her family, and her mother in the book implies that she would have liked for her daughter to lighten her skin tone. It is noted very explicitly in the book that this character is dark-skinned and her family mistreats her for being dark-skinned, and yet they chose Amandla Stenberg, who is light-skinned, to play her. I understand like why they think this is a deviation from the source material, and that's no less valid than what Star Wars fans were pointing out with lore errors in The Acolyte.
Yeah.
Not that Amandla Stenberg, as you said, is to blame for that. That was the choice of the casting director, the script writer.
Well, her issue is that you have to be a bit magnanimous when you're doing these press tours and not divide, and they just haven't learned that lesson yet.
But she also loves talking about how she's descended from slaves and kind of
but she's
emphasizing her black side more than her white
German
side.
German too. And
she loves doing that.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying,
That's true, yeah.
German too,
But she wants to talk about how she's suppressing the rage of 400 years of oppression.
Spike Insanity in the chat says hire Lupita Nyong'o. Yeah, I mean that might be Lupita Nyong'o's. I think probably like
she's
older.
too big of a deal anyway. She wouldn't do something like this.
Yeah. They couldn't
She has
afford
clout.
her.
Amandla Stenberg is kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point as a result of the car crash that was The Acolyte.
Yeah.
And it's what she deserves.
All right.
I think it's due time for Roseanne Barr to make a comeback after getting canceled back in 2018. And in a recent interview with Variety, she revealed that she is working on a new comedy series. She describes it as a cross between The Roseanne Show and The Sopranos, which centers on a small-town farmer in Alabama who is saving the United States from drug gangs and China. The protagonist dabbles in growing and selling drugs like cannabis and magic mushrooms. She claims it's silly and out there. It will contain very offensive ideas and a lot of swearing. I live with my daughter and her husband and their 6 children on a farm, and they have goats running through their house. It's based on my life as a farmer in Hawaii. They save America with guns, the Bible, petty crime, and alcoholism. It's kind of like the Coen brothers thing. She also says that the new series will follow a family that has many similarities with the Connors, the family that she was a part of on screen until she was unceremoniously fired by Disney for an offensive tweet about an Obama aide named Valerie Jarrett, calling her a mix between Planet of the Apes.
It was
and
very
what was it?
I don't
Michelle
remember.
Obama meets Planet of the Apes
It
or
was
something.
not a nice thing to say.
I
not a nice
don't
thing
even
to say.
remember what it was. It doesn't matter. The point is that it's due time for her to move on, and this is why she's promoting her new project. She also says, there's a scene where I have to strap myself into a corset. My granddaughter helps me, and then I go into town to flirt with all the shopkeepers that are just grotesque people. It's just a cartoony kind of thing.
If I'm being completely honest, this doesn't interest me, but that's because cartoonishly over-the-top characters don't interest me. It's actually the worst type of television for me.
Do you think that's the way she came across in her show?
I mean,
In Roseanne?
Cartoonish back then is a vastly different thing than how cartoonish is portrayed now. And I didn't watch the revival, but
I'll wait for a trailer to come out
I
before I make a judgment.
I would watch episodes of Roseanne around the house if it was on TV back when I was a kid, but it wasn't something like, I bet you it's the type of thing, if I went and rewatched it now, it actually would probably have some really, really great moments that would speak to me more as an adult who's actually been through some stuff as opposed to when I was a kid. But in general, when characters are made over the top, it tends to be where I check out when it comes to these things. What's it like? What are the reasons that Taylor, and again, we're not talking about a comedy, I'm saying one of the reasons why Taylor Sheridan, and you've talked about it before, where you see him as kind of a Trojan horse for progressive ideas, it's because the characters aren't cartoonish. I liken it to if a character's written by Hollywood, it's written as a tweet, whereas he writes characters like a thread, meaning that the tweet is the bombastic, over-the-top caricature, whereas a thread has more depth, more insight, and a more fully realized idea of a person, which is why these types of shows don't tend to interest me. But
well, a show like Yellowstone is perceived as conservative or implicitly conservative because of merely the fact that it takes interest in people who live outside of New York or LA.
Yes, and I'm going to address this, and I'm not saying that those types of characters don't interest me when we're talking about dumb action movies, but I'm saying if we're talking about a show that's actually trying to have some type of a statement or make a statement on something, I would prefer there be a little bit more depth to it. If we're talking about dumb action movies, you can be an archetype, you can be a caricature, that's fine. Like, if I'm watching John Wick, I expect him to kill 100 nameless Russian mobsters, all named Arkady.
But we're not going to know what Roseanne is cooking up until we see it for ourselves. So I think I'm going to reserve judgments until I see a trailer, but it's still in early development at this point. She says the new project will soon be shopped in Hollywood, but declined to say who is selling it. She says, if Hollywood doesn't buy it, then I'm just going to make it myself. Does anybody in Hollywood like America or the people who watch TV? Because the people who watch TV would really like to see a show where working class people win against the enemies of America.
I mean, that has to be deftly handled if we're going to do that. They're gonna
Doesn't
do that.
sound deftly handled, but everyone's talking about the vibe shift. I know I'm like beating a dead horse at this point. Vibe shift. Everyone is just calling out whatever they want to be the next example of the vibe shift and giving credit to Trump for it. But in this interview, Roseanne credits Trump's re-election with proving that American viewers are eager for content that Hollywood has been loath to make all these years, or perhaps just the past 8 years.
Well,
and she explains Hollywood has made itself irrelevant to the American people. If they want to survive, they should work with the new president. American people elected him in an overwhelming victory. They should get back in touch with them and make some money, which I don't know if they do or not, because they've proven to be ideologues rather than business people. What shocks me is the fact that they prefer to lose money and then explain that to the shareholders who apparently have no problem with that.
There was actually a movie that came out last year that signaled this shift ahead of time, and that was Twisters. When the director, they were like, so, I feel so bad now because the guy did such a great job and I don't remember his name. Mr. Director, it's a movie about tornadoes. Can you tell me in which way climate change is the sole responsible reason why Tornado Alley has tornadoes? And I'm obviously being hyperbolic. And he's like, yeah, we're just going to kind of make a movie about like people surviving tornadoes.
It's like, bro, it's air moving in a circle.
And that was great. And he basically did, Anthony Mackie read that interview and he goes, how can I do the opposite of this? Which was, I was hesitant about Twisters to start. Colonel Kurtz called it way early. She goes, this is going to be the best movie of 2024. She was right.
Amazing instincts.
She has amazing instincts. And I said, I'm like, there's just no way. They're not going to be able to help themselves. But, I wasn't quite the captain of the Glenn Powell fan club yet, like I am now, officially certified. And
you need that to match your Tom Cruise devotional candle. I shouldn't be encouraging this sacrilegious behavior. Okay,
I need a Glenn Powell candle. But they proved that they can do it. It probably tears at their very soul to make some type of movie that shows middle America in a positive light and actually shows a capable straight man. But they can do it. By God, if they try, they can do it. So maybe
yeah, you're right.
The
vibe shift happened, or at least was bubbling up well before the election last year. People were already talking about it for months, and Twisters was a sign of that. It was one of the major movies that it did really well and like showed that it was possible for people to find an appeal about, a story that takes place somewhere Hollywood usually reviles.
I'm actually arguing with Nick C in the chat right now about whether Twisters was good or not. He says, Twisters was not good. I said, yes, it was.
Look, I don't think it was amazing, but I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself watching it, and that's good enough for me. But when asked if she would consider ABC if the network was interested in taking up her show, Roseanne replied with an emphatic, fuck no. As for other potential Hollywood suitors, she isn't so sure that one will step up. She says, I don't give an F either way. I'd like to get paid handsomely to bring another shit effing network back from doom, as I've done twice for ABC, but I just don't see how they would keep their nose out of my business. We'll see. If not, I'll just go somewhere else and put it on my own website.
It's not even necessarily outside of the realm of possibility at ABC, given that they work with Tim Allen on all of his stuff.
I don't think he was as canceled as Roseanne was.
I mean, different time.
Bob Iger literally came out to the press and said that she was this disrespectful, insensitive monster, basically. Yeah. So when Bob Iger is going to the press to talk shit about you, it's kind of final.
Well, then you just
that's
wait.
the final word on
then
that.
Then you just wait for Bob Iger to retire.
And it's because Roseanne...
he wants to be governor now. Maybe.
Roseanne at least has the self-respect not to go groveling back to these people who threw her under the bus all those years ago and want their approval again. I appreciate that she's just coming right out and saying, like, F them, I don't want to work with them anymore, because they were the ones who threw her out to, they let her out to dry, and they wouldn't deserve to make money off of her again.
She was certainly the most interesting person to meet at the...
She was.
The Mr. Burton
She's
premiere?
obviously... It goes without saying that Roseanne is just like a character.
Yeah, very much
like
so.
She's just a magnetic personality.
All right.
You want to see cringe or cute? It's up to you today.
Let's do cringe. I'm a traditionalist. Here we go. You said this is something to do with catfishing.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I won't even explain it.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Can I catfish the same guy on Tinder? Argyle? Yeah? So excited for this date. I'm Lexi. I'm so excited to meet you.
No, I'm not doing this, man. No.
You're not doing
No.
We could have had a wonderful date.
Have a day.
I'll see you later. I hope that Argyle is excited for his next date with Aubrey.
What's up? It's me, Aubrey.
Hear me out. Hear me out. This time I'm Aubrey. I'm Aubrey for real this time. No, I'm Aubrey.
Bro, he's gonna get the cops called on him.
Look,
I'm gonna call the cops.
you can't call the cops on me. You can't call the cops on Drake.
You can't call the cops on Kendrick.
For the same guy like twice. And I just want to make sure that you're like a real person.
Yeah, I'm real.
Not my day. Yeah, you're real. This is gonna be awesome. All right, cool. I'll see you soon.
See ya.
What? No, it's me. How many times can I catfish the same guy on Tinder?
That was awful.
That guy's just gonna give up on love forever.
Poor dude. Like, if conservatives were real about getting people off dating apps, they would show people this video.
They would just run a terror campaign on people.
I mean, there was some work put into that. He made Drake's mouth move and the
found
shirt.
the decoy to FaceTime him and everything.
That was amazing.
Man.
Okay, I need a
That
break.
man is like never gonna go on another date in his life. Like he just gave up on
No,
love.
what's gonna happen? He's gonna make them FaceTime, and then that person's just gonna hold the phone and then hand it back to him.
You know, like FaceTime, but then like show me everything in the room around you.
That's horrible. All right.
He's a menace.
All right, here we go. Let's do cute of the day. This one is from Madamus Prime. Says, my 6-year-old got a frog for Christmas. She named him Froggy Frodo.
I like that name. Whoa, bro's spherical.
Right
Very
there.
cute.
Very cute. All right, guys. I'm
Looks
doing
like a
one a
toad,
day.
though.
You can submit your pets. Hashtag.
Wait, why one a day now?
You
just made the decision.
Look, the longer it went on, basically what happens is like it ends up like I lose some because people send them all in at once, and then like I lose them and I have to go through the hashtag again.
Yeah.
And it's just easier that way. Get away. If you guys do want to submit your pets to be featured here on Cute of the Day, hashtag PCC Pets, tag me on X as a post, not as a private message. It's just the easiest way for me to find it.
Justin Baldoni is following through on his promise to expose everything. They're still working on launching a website where we can all view the entirety of their correspondences, emails, text messages, WhatsApp, voicemails, behind-the-scenes footage of It Ends With Us. That hasn't been launched yet, but Justin Baldoni just released a 6-minute clip of a 2 a.m. voicemail he sent to Blake Lively, groveling for her approval. Actually, for context, this is the message that Blake Lively sent to Justin Baldoni before he asked for her forgiveness. This is the infamous Game of Thrones message. No. If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi, and like her, I happen to have a few dragons. For better or worse, but usually for better, because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise you. 37-year-old woman, by the way, who's speaking like this, like a 13-year-old girl. She is referring to her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and her friend, Taylor Swift, in that message to strike fear in Justin Baldoni's heart. We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. I have finally decided that I should call you folks the connoisseurs of cringe. I proudly wear that label. That's exactly what I am. So, in response to Blake Lively's fear-mongering message about her dragons, Justin Baldoni, being the placating simp he is, sent her back this voice memo, just groveling, just profusely apologizing for offending her. The reason why she was offended by Justin Baldoni is Blake Lively had this perception that she was being pigeonholed as just an actress in this movie. She believed she was entitled to more creative control, and that Justin Baldoni was depriving her of that. So here was his response to those claims.
So as to not slander a man who's worked as hard as he has to have the voice that he does. This is at 2 times speed because the video is 6 minutes long.
Yeah, we're going at 35 seconds in and we're playing it on 2 times speed because he's doing this very slow, raspy, whispering voice that a lot of people find flirty. Okay. We'll get to those.
Here we go.
Takes.
Start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank, and I'm really sorry. I for sure fell short, and you worked really hard on that, and the way you framed it, and how that made you feel. I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me. That takes a lot of trust and vulnerability, and I feel really grateful that you feel safe enough to tell me that that's how you feel.
I'm actually getting secondhand fear that I'm gonna get like a voice app message. I don't know how you feel about that, but when people send me voice texts, I almost throw my phone across the room.
No, there are only 2 types of people: voice memo people and the people who hate voice memos.
I am not a voice memo
And Justin Baldoni is a voice memo guy.
I actually physically I get
He's
repulsed.
one of those guys.
It's just me.
Yeah.
All right.
And share that with me, and I'm really sorry. I f***ed up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail. I am far from perfect. I'm a very flawed man, as my wife will attest, and I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth. I'm gonna piss you off probably, but I will always apologize and find my way back to center. That is one thing I can assure you of. And I'm sorry I made you feel that way. That must have felt terrible. And I will for sure do better. That was not my best weekend. And I
mean, it's not even an apology. It's like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, it's an apology, but he's also,
Well, you haven't even heard the entirety of it yet.
And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that. And we should all have friends like that, aside from the fact that you're the greatest people on the planet.
Dragons, yes.
The 3 of you guys together is unbelievable. Talk about energy, just a force, all 3 of you. But I just want you to know that I didn't need that because it's really good and it's gonna make the movie sing like you said, and I'm excited to go through the whole movie with you. I think you and I have been trying to build a relationship, which I think we've done successfully. I mean, here we are talking like this, me and my phone at 2 in the morning, but largely via text and voice note. And I will be honest with you, that is not my biggest strength. I love being with people and being in somebody's space and being face to face, and I feel like that's where I excel. And definitely falling short at times in our text and voice note exchanges because there's so much to communicate and there's so much happening. And all that to say, I'm just really looking forward to spending time together. And I think that's going to really go a long way for our chemistry, which I believe is there. Has been there from the start. So I was so damn excited when we did this film. I felt it in the room.
If I were him,
yeah,
I'd be worried about like the voicemail running out.
What do you mean?
Like where it's like it stops because it's reached its maximum length and then it can't, and then it just sends it.
Oh no, it's not a voicemail.
I think it does come from
it's a
both of us being so fucking hardworking and having a vision and not settling. And I'm excited to have a creative partner in that view. And it's just really exciting. There's so much more to say. There's so much I want to say. And there's one thing that I do need to say, which is I am so sorry you have been through what you've been through with these other filmmakers and producers or whoever the people were that you worked with. And it just me off those heads that I'm just still kind of blown away that this is the industry that we're in and that you've experienced that as a woman. And I know I don't need to say it, but that's not at all going to be or will be. Hopefully, it's not been the experience with me. There's nothing more exciting to me. Like that I get to work with like Lively and have her, all of her. And that's what I want. And so there's been no hesitancy with me sending you the final draft file. I am totally fine with that. The only reason I didn't send it today was because I was trying to implement and add your notes into my working draft, which is already like I'm all over that draft right now. So there's a whole bunch of new stars that are going to be collated pages. I just haven't had a chance to send it to you, but there's no hesitancy. I'm happy to send it to you, and I'm sorry that has happened to you before. And I hope after this experience there will be a new. I hope it'll be healing in some way. That's all I want. I want this movie to be healing. I want this movie to be commercial, just like you, and affect people and touch people. And I want to walk you through my whole plan and the work that we're doing with the domestic violence partner that we found no more, and just my vision. And I just know that this can be really, really special. It's going to be special, and you're the secret sauce, and we're the secret sauce. And anyways, I have so much more to say. I'm going to stop rambling because Jesus Christ, it's been 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So me. I'm sorry. You probably have kids all over you and a baby on your boob, and you're listening to me ramble at 2 in the morning. I hope you're feeling better, and give Ryan my love. Thank you for sending me that. It means the world to me that you trust me with your feelings and your thoughts like that. And I can't wait to spend more time with you. Okay, I'm done cutting myself off. Good night.
Okay.
Yeah.
What it is it's it's a very passive person acquiescing to a passive aggressive person.
Yeah.
Which might actually be the 9th or 10th circle of hell.
He's a people pleaser. That's what Justin Baldoni is. He is a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And you know what? He was scared because there was, in fact, an imbalanced power dynamic between him and Blake Lively. Although technically she is an employee, he's the director, he's also producing. It's not the same thing as an employee and a boss. She has more power than him by far in the industry because of her own fame and wealth, but also, of course, because of her husband's fame and wealth. And she very explicitly threatened Justin Baldoni with that power. Yeah. And he responded by placating her. He really tried to win her favor back. He tried everything, pathetically. And maybe you could say he shouldn't have handled it that way.
I mean, I don't know how else he can. Like,
what can you do,
every
though?
other, first of all, any other avenue would have been against his personality type, and he wouldn't have been able to do that anyways. I get that. He went with the only method he knew.
Shockingly, this is what proves to me.
I bet you this upset her even more because she probably saw it as weakness.
It's the whole, like, kill them with kindness thing, but also, you're right, she sees it as weakness, and, like, that's what she detest even more as someone who can't, like, stand up to her. So, but, you know, this is what proves to me that Justin Baldoni is a true believer male feminist. He really means it. Like, he was apologizing to her on behalf of all the men that have ever mistreated her.
It's also interesting.
He's
because...
like, I'm so sorry on behalf of all the male directors and producers who have ever been mean to you.
Well, technically, you should be sorry on behalf of all the men who aren't those directors.
I just can't believe that you get treated like this as a woman in Hollywood. And she decided to take that and use it against him and incinerate his career anyway.
What's funny is he's actually, at least from everything that I've seen in his personality type, he's kind of antithetical to the way directors are supposed to work, which is very regimented. It's their way or the highway. It's their job to bring the pages on screen to life. It is not a job for the meek. It is not a job for somebody, like, you can hear a lot about collaborative directors, and that is a thing, but directors in general at the level of a big budget Hollywood film aren't want to be walked out on, right? They want to be able to make the movie that they're making. And a lot of times that doesn't mean making friends. That means making sure these are the words on the page. Say the words on the page. Here's what you're supposed to be thinking and feeling. Emote. Do it now. We've got a budget. We've got time constraints.
Yeah.
We're over. We're an hour over. We're going into territory where we're gonna have to pay people extra. Get this done.
And you know what? Given the fact that Justin Baldoni purchased the film rights from Colleen Hoover, not Blake Lively, you know, Colleen Hoover should not have gotten on the Me Too bandwagon like that. She, you know, right? Like, Blake Lively did not own this. This was not her project, and she was acting like it was.
I would assume by taking a side so early on that she was taking the side of somebody that she felt was going to be more beneficial to her down the line in Hollywood when it comes to getting her work adapted.
Yeah, maybe. Some people perceived this voice note, though, as flirtatious on Justin Baldoni's
Well, I suppose
part.
if you listen to it at 1x speed.
Yeah, he's speaking very slowly and sensually. This tweet says, to be fair, if Justin Baldoni left me a 2 a.m. voicemail with that voice, my man wouldn't be thrilled either. This just shows he was trying to make it work and walking on eggshells. He was doomed no matter what.
That's what it felt like to me.
So Ryan Reynolds must have heard that voice memo and thought, oh, yeah, he's trying to steal my girl. I mean, I have to just burn his career to the ground.
Yeah.
And there was another comment that people took particular notice of in that voice memo where Justin Baldoni says, I get to work with Blake Lively. I want her. I want all of her. He says that.
He's just an artist who talks that way.
Yes.
He said, give my love to your husband. I'm guessing he doesn't actually mean that.
Yes, the context that Colonel Kurtz gave in a post on X says Baldoni is responding in his voice memo to Blake Lively's complaint that he doesn't listen to her ideas enough or give her enough creative control outside of her limited role as an actress. He's addressing that and saying, I want you involved on all levels, not trying to minimize you. Baldoni sounds smooth and seductive, but I think he actually relates to everyone this way. He's an intense, emotional guy, and he talks about his wife and Ryan a lot in the voice memo too. So again, it doesn't matter if he isn't to everyone's liking. Did he deserve to be destroyed by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds? I don't think so. No.
What's weird is like, okay, so this is interesting. So the industry that they work in is unbelievably cutthroat, right? It's unbelievably cutthroat. The likes of Ryan Reynolds, to get to the level that they are in Hollywood, just like anybody who becomes a billionaire, anybody who succeeds in business, they may be liked by the general public, but very likely there are, if not skeletons, there are angry people along the way because they had to succeed where other people may have failed. Now, for somebody like Justin Baldoni, we always make the joke that being a male feminist is, it's a way to protect your image when there's actually a much darker notion underneath, that there's a darker core to that person, be it as a predator or something like that. We're not saying him. We're saying that is oftentimes the average male feminist ends up being not such a great guy. Here's the thing. Those not such a great guys use that veneer as a way to look good to the public while succeeding in a cutthroat industry like Hollywood. He seems to actually be the real male feminist who isn't super cutthroat, which means in a lot of ways he's made it a lot farther than most people who might just not be cut out for that business.
Yes.
I would never be able to make it in that industry. And there's no shame in not being able to be in an industry full of duplicitous douches who run over one another for success. I understand everybody has to get theirs, but there's a difference between choosing to be an actor and getting in on the ground floor of production and making your own films and making your own TV shows. He was already successful. Like I said, he did 5 years of Jane the Virgin. I know that because Olivia made me watch all 5 seasons. He's not a bad actor. Granted, his character is pretty much exactly, maybe he is a bad actor because his character is pretty much exactly like he is in real life.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's not cut out for the cutthroat the way that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were. Most likely they saw any sort of earnest emotion and just saw weakness.
They seized on it. Yeah. And in an industry like Hollywood, but also in most facets of life, the nice guys do finish last. Like, this is what that proves. Let's read some super chats though.
Do it.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Taco Tuesday, Brett and Mary. Mary, if you wanted to try the Taco Bell dipping burritos, they are $1 for the Tuesday drop."
That does sound so good right now.
Well, thank you for keeping me apprised of that information. I will probably do that.
James Higgins says, dude, that guy was apologizing for things he didn't do. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's pretty common for somebody.
Big mistake.
In his position. And like I said, the thing is, to him, that probably sounds earnest and real, and he means it. And to them, they see nothing but revulsion from that. And that's not going to end up well for him.
Mr. Joker said 8 years ago, there was a viral fan video where Deadpool visited Logan's grave. It got 13 million views, very similar to Deadpool and Wolverine's opening.
Yep. Yeah, that is true. I've seen that before.
Can they get sued for that?
Probably. I mean, I don't.
Will they?
I mean, the thing is, though, these days is like, well, actually, I don't know. Statute. No, because the movie's new. Who knows? Who knows? I do know that most of the time, the people with the biggest lawyers usually win.
Shane H. Wilder said, "How can you talk about Captain America when there's a genocide going on in Gaza? At least you're not Biden, who tried to spend $50 million for condoms in Gaza."
I read somewhere today that they were filling those condoms with like flammable liquid that they could turn into IEDs. And
like
that
acid water balloons.
That is thinking with your brain. It's good stuff. Bad idea, guys.
Why would you even send condoms to Gaza anyway? They need condom aids?
I guess so.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, "After all of the tea spilling and voguing, Brett will have to go home and tell Olivia that he can no longer get married as he is now gay." LMFAO.
Felt that way for a second there.
Yeah. But look, everyone knows now it was Mary's idea. You can place the blame on me.
Luckily, I am just so confident in my masculinity that I can be part of a headline that says "spilling the tea." Ugh. One more.
I love it. I force you to use the word woke in thumbnails too.
Oh, that's even worse.
Sometimes it applies.
I am more egregious to that word than anything, just because I can already spot the people saying before, and it's like, what does that word even mean? I'm like, I don't want to fight with you about it.
I hate it too a lot of the time, but
sometimes
it works.
Performative activism and performative progressivism. But it just doesn't, again, just like Captain does the right thing doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well. Do one more.
No Control said, sounds racist, should be ism of color. Oh, right. Instead of colorism, it should be called ism of color. That's what she's guilty of.
Let's hold off and the rest of this come back because we're not done. Look, we were like 20 minutes in and people are like, have they gotten to the Justin Baldoni?
Oh, we're not
Blake
even
Lively stuff
That's
yet.
not all.
No.
Don't get it twisted. Apropos to talking about burnt bridges that you leave behind in an industry like Hollywood, people who have worked with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds in the past are now coming out of the woodwork to speak out about their unprofessional behavior on the sets of both of their own projects. Now, a former extra on Gossip Girl who is now a TV chef and like a YouTuber influencer type person named Rosella Rago spoke on TikTok about her terrible experiences working with Blake Lively, claiming that she's basically an absolute nightmare to work with. She said, I was a stand-in on movies and TV shows for 15 years, and I worked on Gossip Girl on and off for all 6 seasons, and I can attest that Blake Lively is horrendous. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. She was a Nepo baby, and when she was 19, the whole world was blowing smoke up her ass. It's really hard to keep your head when that happens. She thinks that she has the right to behave exactly as she wants. And how dare we make a fuss? She couldn't handle that people didn't like her and she was looking like an a-hole. So according to her posts, Blake Lively would even burp and fart in the middle of set between takes and, quote, act like we were lucky to be smelling her farts.
Okay, I'm starting to think that we're getting off into the territory of clout chasing now.
You think she's just making that shit up?
I would have maybe been more likely to believe it before I found out that she was like a social media personality that benefits directly from this stuff being in the headlines.
But that is the actual quote. Blake Lively would burp and fart in the middle of set and act like we were lucky to be smelling her farts.
Just sounds like somebody holding a grudge to me.
I don't know. I mean, maybe she's just jealous that Blake Lively ended up having a much bigger career than her, and she didn't make it, so to speak. She was very unpleasant to work with. I just don't know how else to say it. She also claims that Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, would bow down at her feet when they began dating after her brief fling with Leonardo DiCaprio.
So what the hell am I supposed
back
to believe?
in 2011.
Is he deeply controlling, or is he a weird simp who bows down at the feet of a girl he's been seeing for a couple of months? Which is it?
We're hearing a lot of different narratives about who they both are, but especially about Ryan Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, we were talking about the theory that Ryan Reynolds is the one who's behind the Me Too lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, and that he's been dragging Blake Lively along for the ride, and that she never wanted any of this, but it's Ryan Reynolds' way of humiliating her for cheating on him emotionally.
See, that is a very different...
That's a much more interesting story, to be honest, than that he's a desperate, pathetic wife guy. But if we're to believe what she's saying, allegedly, Ryan Reynolds would actually just bow at Blake Lively's feet, like he was just at her beck and call.
It's for lack of a better term, does it pass the smell test? It seems a bit over the top, and usually when things start to feel like I mean, this kind of comes up a lot when we get into a lot of the Me Too cases, where at a certain point somebody starts to sound like a supervillain.
And it's a movie I would love to watch.
Yeah, like
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
She's used to being adored, and when she's not, shit gets real, and Justin Baldoni has found out how real it gets.
See, he needed some insiders in Hollywood to be like, hey, bro, anybody but her.
While filming Gossip Girl,
they're like, dude, Sydney Sweeney just finished Anyone But You. Get Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. They also claim Blake would allegedly make demands of the extras through a director who would tell them to be quiet or tell them not to move
Oh, so she was
on
the
her
person.
behalf.
She'd be like, she would be looking directly at the extra, but turn to the director and be like, "Could you tell them to stop moving?" Even though they were right in their eye line.
So on Blake Lively's behalf, this director would demand that the extras on set be quiet and stop moving because she wanted to be in charge of everyone. And, you know, it just sounds like she's the type of person who was raised with an immense amount of notoriety and privilege and now has to force herself to be nice to the normal people. You know, that's not hard to believe at all.
Nope.
You know, okay, the detail about her farting on set, again, I don't know if that passes the smell test, but the rest of it is very easy for me to believe, that she just generally has an attitude that's narcissistic and self-involved and that she's a control freak. And everyone has known for years that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have a heavily curated public image, which is being threatened right now. And that's why we move on to claims made about Ryan Reynolds. Now, a clip from an interview with TJ Miller on the Adam Carolla podcast is resurfacing and getting posted on social media again. This is from back in 2022 when people were talking about the announcement of a third Deadpool movie. TJ Miller claimed that Ryan Reynolds was horrifically mean to him on the set of Deadpool, both the first and second movies. He said, as the character of Deadpool, he was horrifically mean to me, but to me, as if I'm Weasel. Ryan was like, you know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie.
Well, it is actually true that Weasel had some of the best lines in the original Deadpool, mainly when he's describing how disgusting his face looks without the mask on after he escapes. He's like, you look like your face looks like an avocado fucked an older avocado.
But apparently,
it's very Reddit humor, but it was very good in 2016.
Like Ryan Reynolds would have just ad-libbed, like he just was doing improv to be mean to TJ Miller for fun.
Yeah.
Like, as the character, it's like, what do you mean? We're just practicing our roles. Like, you can't.
And then makes a very pointed facial expression at him.
What's so crazy about that? I'm just trying to do improv, bro.
Yeah.
This is art. Miller said he kind of listened and thought it was weird before walking away after the director called cut. He also alluded to Ryan Reynolds possibly being insecure for some reason, though he wasn't exactly sure why. He was asked if he would work with Ryan Reynolds again, and he said, no, I would not work with him again. I wish him well because he's so good at Deadpool, but I think it's weird that he hates me. I don't wish him any ill will. I just think he doesn't like me, and I thought it was weird how he expressed that.
I'm almost positive now. This could just be me imagining something, but I'm pretty sure he has since walked that back.
Yes, he
said
actually
that
did.
he would indeed work with him again. That's what happens when you make the third movie and it makes $1 billion.
Well, just days after he gave that interview in 2022, he said that they patched things up because Ryan Reynolds heard about it and emailed him, and they worked it out. You know, they buried the hatchet, as bros do. Women, not so much. It's more complicated with women.
I don't know. Well, yeah, that's different for guys.
Men can kind of just put things behind them. Even if they're not like totally over it.
I mean,
they can at least act like they're over it.
I don't even know if I buy that in Hollywood, because as I said earlier, I said the average Hollywood male is probably more like a woman than most dudes. So,
for sure.
Like, do I actually buy that? No, I buy that most of them have catty behavior. Now, I do believe that a lot of them will set their differences aside to make money. It's kind of like in WWE, Vince McMahon would get into, like, he would have bad relationships with tons of wrestlers who would come and go from the company, but that didn't mean that he would not bring you back, because the door was always open if there was money to be made. Bret Hart can come back because Bret Hart can bring them money.
Sort of like the Oasis tour.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
When you want to make money together, your differences can be put aside. But other people were celebrating that Ryan Reynolds was mean to TJ Miller because they hate TJ Miller.
Yeah, he got Me Too'd, right? I never even I don't even remember what happened with it. I just remember there was like a story at some point that he supposedly...
yeah.
It was a long time ago.
I don't know the details
I don't know if
either.
it's true. I don't know if it's not, but...
But that's not to say Ryan Reynolds doesn't have his own skeletons in the closet,
That
and
is
that's
true.
what people are finding out now. He's not, in fact, the nicest guy in Hollywood.
I mean, that's what's weird is so he comes from the era just before social media. What'll be interesting is the moguls of the future in Hollywood will have a vastly different approach than the ones who came from 21st century Hollywood. So if we're talking somebody who came to prominence in the year 2000, I think Van Wilder was like the year 2000, around that time. Cell phones are around, but they're not the communication devices that they are now. I don't know what year TMZ was created, but celebrity gossip existed, but wasn't what it is now. And the ability for somebody's reputation to be destroyed swiftly wasn't what it is now. So the ones who are going to grow to become the business moguls and the producers of the future will either have to be unbelievably squeaky clean, or something...
Which is impossible for human beings,
Well, especially since it doesn't take even necessarily something bad happening for your reputation to be moved. All that needs to happen is you get a deal, somebody else doesn't get a deal, and they leak a story that isn't true. If you believe that that's far-fetched, you are wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's like back in the day before social media, you could just treat some intern like trash, and no one would ever listen to their story about it. But
it
now,
just wasn't interesting enough for anybody because it was seen as comical. Like, oh, those actors,
right? And you were pointing out earlier off air that there's now this like cottage industry for people to tell their story, whether it's a Me Too allegation or some person that worked with Blake Lively 20 years ago claiming that she burps and farts on set, and then people just they run with it. I'm not going to claim like this is all verified fact. She has no evidence of anything that she said. It's just there is an audience for it now because anyone can just pick up their phone and go to TikTok with their story, their testimony of Blake Lively.
We live in an age now where, even an actor who isn't necessarily working in their field can become famous on social media, which is, I mean, that's a good thing, right? A lot of people are, like the average backup dancer can have a flourishing career as on TikTok without having to dance for anybody or put themselves in the same room as Jason Derulo or something like that. So look, but the problem is when that's true, when there's money on the line, when there's clicks and views on the line, you have to take those statements with a grain of salt. Not everybody has the trauma to book deal pipeline. Some people have the nothing really happened to fake scandal for clicks pipeline down the road.
Vera's in the chat and she said that my hair looks cute.
I saw that.
Thank you, Vera.
She said she has a simp pass.
I appreciate that. Let's read some super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, are these books or smut and propaganda written at a first grade level? The reason that can be read so quickly has always been that they have no value. Yeah, most of what book talk fangirls over just tends to be like romance novels that are basically porn and fantasy novels that veer on the edge of pornography without totally being that, and it's all sold in Barnes & Noble as literature.
There was a line in the Honest trailer for John Wick 3. In the beginning, when John Wick is fighting the really tall dude in the library, he goes, "Good thing this fight happened in the Russian literature section, so no one heard it. If they'd been fighting in the YA section, the cops would have come 10 minutes ago."
They need to be. You know what? Book talk. Call me when you read Dostoevsky. But until then, I don't want to hear that that your hobby is reading, because it's basically worse than just looking at picture books.
Until you can tell me Voltaire's second most famous quote, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Pop Culture Junkie said, I have finally decided that I should call you folks the connoisseurs of cringe. Oh, wait, no, I already read that one. Shane H. Wilder, pigeonholed as just an actress. Bitch, ain't that what you are? Also, Baldoni sounds like the simp par excellence. Stop it. Get some help. Wait, everyone sucks. You're right. It's hard to sympathize with him. But pun not intended. It's hard to sympathize with the simp because he, in a way, brought this on himself.
Does she have a makeup line?
Blake Lively?
Yeah.
I know she has a hair care line.
Okay, that's what
Why?
I am at. I mean, I'm just saying, like, they're saying pigeonholed as just an actress. I'm like, if you had told me that she didn't have some type of beauty product line, I would have fallen
She
out
also
of my
sells
chair.
alcohol, I think.
Well, Ryan Reynolds sells alcohol, I know.
But people were very offended that she was selling or promoting her alcohol brand at one of the promotional parties for It Ends With Us, because they were like,
Yeah.
hey, this is a movie about domestic violence, and obviously alcohol is a huge factor in a lot of
She's
domestic
like-
violence situations.
She's like, you know how to handle a really bad domestic violence situation?
You know what? It's like we're going to fill all the promotional parties with my alcohol brand, and you can use my hairspray from my hair care line to get your hair all tousled, just like when he throws you off a balcony. It'll just look perfect, just like in the movie.
Love it.
But yeah, she felt like she wasn't being treated with the importance that she deserves as a creative.
Mary does that to me every day. She comes in here and she's like,
And I force you to say that we're spilling the tea in the thumbnail.
I don't want to be pigeonholed as a podcast host.
I have incredible skills when it comes to thumbnails.
Yes.
I know. The Rumbling said Justin Baldoni sounds like Gavin Newsom, which is an ick. I would rather have Blake win this lawsuit just to crush this male feminist simp. Damn. I guess that there's no love for Justin Baldoni in the chat today.
What that proves to you is that people hate bullies, but even more than that, what they won't admit is that they hate weakness.
So true. And I saw Colonel Kurtz tweeting about this just today. She said, oh, apparently you guys just think that Johnny Depp is the only man who's ever allowed to defend himself from a woman trying to destroy his career with false allegations, because when it comes to someone like Justin Baldoni, whom you don't care for because, you know, you just don't like his personality, you don't like the fact that he's a feminist, whatever his worldview is that opposes yours, now you're okay with him getting incinerated. So was all of the support for Johnny Depp fanfare, or was it on principle? It was mostly fanfare, if we're being honest with ourselves.
Might be hard to admit, but as fake as a lot of the world is with their pleasantries, a lot of people would rather live in a fake world of pleasantries where you can pretend like being cordial or even a bit giving is a good thing, whereas a lot of people in the real world, they don't like it, and they don't like it when you bend the knee to anything, right? That's why a lot of people, they don't like it, even if you admit when you are wrong, they don't want you to do that because they don't like the people that you're admitting it to, even if you were the person who was in the wrong there. And that's a harsh reality to fall into a lot of the time, and it's a tough road to walk. You know, it's a tough line to walk with everything, because you should be willing to admit when you're wrong, or when you do something wrong. But a lot of times self-preservation kicks in, or even just bravado, and you're like, just because you're a piece of shit, fuck you. Even if I'm wrong, fuck you.
Damn.
Like, you know,
I don't really see that energy from you on social media, though.
Well, no, I mean, that's like arguing with.
What was your positivity score again?
Oh, it was not high. I mean, it was like an 85. It should be 100. I'm the most positive person on social media.
I don't really see you throwing around FUs.
I find doing it online to be even more lame. Like,
you don't do it in real life either.
I'm
just so you guys
pretty
know.
Positive person for the most part. But I'm saying that's not necessarily always a good thing. A lot of people aren't gonna. I'm saying that's probably to my detriment far more than it is to my benefit. That not being the type of person who wants to do that probably hurts me more than it helps me.
Dingus Khan said Blake Lively is going to start selling fart scented candles now to keep ahead of Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, well, I guess she's gonna like collab with Goop next to salvage her legal fees.
And as we know from, you know, OnlyFans and social media, she'd probably make a fortune, sadly.
Yeah, I always think when those women claim to be selling jars of their own farts, there's no way you can prove that. They can just sell a jar.
Yep. Well, it was like, it's like, how do I know that it was actually your bath water? Or was it just regular water? I want my money back.
They're just lying. Yep. Yurishima Otaru said Miller wasn't Me Too'd. He made a bomb threat on Amtrak.
Okay, damn.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about that, but he did also get Me Too. It was both and.
So I wasn't wrong.
So yes, he did have Me Too allegations, and he also made a bomb threat on Amtrak.
Yeah.
Not
Guys,
a good look.
let's get another crisis party. Come on, we just got the first one. Let's get the second one.
Wait, did the first party happen already?
Just went. I'm not waiting. I'm asking for a second one, guys.
Okay.
Because I asked.
James Brighter said, keep the new crisis party song you made Monday, Brett.
Till Monday, you're saying?
Okay. No. I think that we deserve it.
Mary wants a new one. Or
it's only Tuesday after all.
A longer one.
We're going to keep it. We're just going to improve it.
Yep.
Don't worry. Shane H. Wilder said TMZ started November 8th, 2005.
Damn. So, yeah, it's coming up on its 20th anniversary this year.
Wonder what they're going to do to celebrate.
I was last year when I learned that TMZ stands for 30 Mile Zone, which is the radius around all of the studios and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was very interesting. At one point, I was like, we shouldn't even be called Pop Culture Crisis, just be PCC, because it would allow us to skew farther away from topics without people being like, what does this have to do with pop culture? Because let's face it, sometimes I want to talk about other shit.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but also
like one day
it is pop culture, to be fair.
One day I'm just gonna be like, so about those Colombian tariffs.
You know, we're just going to talk about tariffs and industrial policy today on Pop Culture Crisis.
Let's not read any more super chats, but maybe we should hold off until I forgot we have.
I'm like waiting.
Yeah.
For the party to go.
It always
off
happens
now.
like right as we're about to start the next topic.
That would be annoying.
I guess we could do one more.
Okay.
One more.
Jewish AF of Christendom said Mary's Cast Brew is definitely hot chocolate. LOL. Well, I know that I say I'm cold all the time, and that is true, but I drink only iced coffee. Yeah. I do not drink hot coffee ever.
I definitely got told by the doctor to stop drinking energy drinks and start drinking coffee, to which I said nay.
It's good for you.
I know.
It's the best drug on the planet.
I absolutely should be cutting back on the energy drinks, but, tomorrow.
Just get on the caffeine and nicotine like me.
Well, which is crazy is I when we used to have like the nitro cold brews here, I would drink those to like break glass in case of emergency tired.
But you don't even like how the coffee tastes.
The nitro cold brews are fine. Like that's just like I've surrendered myself to the fact that I'm going to be drinking something extremely bitter.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
I don't want to taste the weird additives and like faux sweeteners that they put in those energy drinks. It's just nauseating.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like well, I wonder why it's bad for you, and then you look down the list of ingredients with a bunch of.
Thank you. I don't know what's worse, like the real sugar ones or the fake sugar ones. Okay, it's louder. It's louder. What do we think, guys? We need your feedback on this one. It was definitely louder than before. Not overwhelmingly loud.
And longer.
It was longer. Guys, tell us, super chat to us your feedback if you think that that was loud enough or if we need to bump it up even more. Yep. We'll do that for you.
All right, let's move on.
Wait, somebody's saying their $20 super chat wasn't read?
Who? I didn't see a 20.
Oh, no, never mind. It's because I read 120 twice. Never mind. Okay. There is a rumor going around that Zendaya is about to get cut and replaced with a new love interest in Spider-Man 4 opposite Tom Holland, her fiance. They just got engaged, and in fact, the headlines are claiming both of them are stepping back from work right now to prepare for getting married and living as a married couple. But Tom Holland is still set to star in Spider-Man 4, of course. And allegedly, according to another rumored scoop, Zendaya is still going to be in Spider-Man 4, but she will be replaced by a new love interest, who is rumored to be Madeline Klein. She is a blonde actress that I remember from Glass Onion. That's the only thing I've seen her in. Yep. She looks like more of a TikToker than an actress, though. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of her we can show?
I don't have one pulled up here.
She's less recognizable than Zendaya for sure. Yeah, that's Madeline Klein.
Just put Livy Dunn in there while you're at it.
Yeah, F it. Why not? Get Addison Rae or something. Like, just pick one of these random Instagram models. But that's according to a blind item that was submitted to Dumois. Madeline Klein is reportedly being considered for a role in the cast of Spider-Man 4. And pretty obvious to me that if that's true, she's going to be the new love interest. Playing what character, though?
I mean, I don't actually know if I believe that. I actually think that she might not play the love interest. If the whole point would be to get away from Mary Jane or MJ and to go to Gwen Stacy, but I don't know if they would cast her as Gwen Stacy.
Some people are saying that Zendaya getting replaced in Spider-Man is a sign of the vibe shift.
It is really funny to think about. They're just like, we're just going to make your life harder. Like, oh, congratulations, you got engaged. Now we're going to make sure that he has to be with another woman in this movie.
Imagine you meet somebody on the set of a movie, get married, and then your character gets replaced as the love interest immediately. Like, that's...
They just want to make your life difficult.
Sabotage.
Yeah.
It's sabotage against their marriage.
Yeah.
This could break them up. It could ruin everything.
But
you know,
they're Holly weird.
People are claiming, at least,
they probably love that shit. They're
that,
like, oh, I love to have to act opposite. It's like, it's really challenging me as an artist to have to be in love with one woman,
right?
and then pretend to love another.
It's a test of how professional I am as an
Exactly.
actor, and I'm just so talented that I can pretend to have sex with other people than my wife on camera, and it doesn't affect my marriage at all. So if you think that's weird, you're weird, actually. But no, there's not going to be anything like that in Spider-Man, hopefully, because there are children watching. But you know, people are saying that Zendaya getting replaced in Spider-Man as the love interest for Tom Holland's Peter Parker is evidence of the vibe shift that was just brought upon us by Donald Trump winning the election.
I
They
laughed
say
at that.
day 8 of the Trump administration, and he just got rid of Zendaya. He just put the kibosh on all things Zendaya because
That
she's
made
been
me
getting
laugh.
so much hate for so long. I don't even know how I feel about her anymore because people either love her
It's over
and
the
stand
top.
everything she does or they hate her guts.
Yeah, it's over the top. Like,
You think?
there's nothing about her that inspires a strong enough response from me to care anywhere near as much as the people that either love her or hate her in equal measure.
One thing I hate about maybe just the way that she's marketed to me is that she always looks so done up and beautiful on these red carpets. They style her, dress her to the nines, put her in all the beautiful makeup, and they do her hair beautifully. And she really is a beautiful girl. But then it seems like in every movie or show that she's in, they make her look frumpy.
I think that,
It's on purpose at this point.
I think the actors love that. Here's the thing. I think they love the dichotomy. I think they love and believe that there is some type of social utility about portraying women as average or less than the physical beauty ideal. I think they love it. I think they love it because, one, when a girl or a woman goes on a red carpet and does, granted, they're not doing their makeup themselves, they're sexualizing themselves, which is their choice. It's a matter of consent. A lot of people, especially with hyper-progressive political beliefs, believe that there is something inherently wrong about a sexualized character that is coming from the pen and the word of a director or writer who says that they have to act that way, that is some form of oppressive nature to tell a woman that they have to act that way. They're completely ignoring the fact that you have to sign up to do the role and agree to do the role, right? But that is not a progressive ideal because a lot of times it's the hand of a man, either a male that wrote it or a man that directs it. It's the same logic that they use in porn to have women be like camera women or directors, to say that it's less exploitative to have women directing porn than men.
But the question is, who should the character of Mary Jane be? Does that fit?
I mean, they're already, no,
character?
they have to do Gwen Stacy. They have to do, because they already, I know that she's not Mary Jane. I know that she's,
but what I'm saying is, was it the right decision creatively? Was it the right decision to make Zendaya look like shit in the movie?
I mean, it fits with her personality. And it fits with her personality in the movie, which is aloof and annoying, but I didn't particularly care for it.
They
but
made her the same way in
I hardly
Euphoria.
honestly remember her in those movies. I mostly remember, him in his journey as Spider-Man. Ned was a more memorable character to me than MJ in those movies. Somebody in the chat, Antonio Romero says Brett is explaining female nature. No, I'm explaining Hollywood progressivism and the rules that the self-imposed rules that they put on themselves to operate. That's not female nature. It's just how they seem to treat things so that they don't get canceled by other people in their own industry.
Mm-hmm.
The way that movies are produced now. I was talking about that the other day when I did I wrote this long review about the sexually predatory nature of the women in the show Republic of Doyle. And I said that it's weird how in modern day Hollywood, there are more sex scenes because of streaming services, yet there is this looming air of like Harvey Weinstein's still living ghost that has to be cast out of existence by your nearest intimacy coordinator. And they're the only one with the mojo to do it, for lack of
which is ironic,
a less occult
because
meaning.
All of Harvey Weinstein's alleged and not alleged, proven misconduct took place behind closed doors and not on film sets.
I don't know if they cast her as Black Cat, as they're saying in the chat. That certainly seems to be what they're talking about.
That's what a lot of people are speculating in their replies.
I don't know who you cast for this. I frankly, Tom Holland, it seems kind of weird. So at the end of No Way Home, if I remember correctly, thanks to the spell from Doctor Strange, he's basically been cast out of existence, and like Ned and MJ, they don't even know him anymore. It's a way of protecting him as his identity has been revealed. So, I don't know. It's going to be weird going back to Spider-Man after like finishing a trilogy as strongly as they did. But Tom Holland is still a bankable dude, and people still really like him and recognize him in that role. Mm-hmm. See, if he was a real male feminist, he'd be like, I won't do it without her. And then he'd walk away from like $1 gazillion.
Yeah, I don't understand how they're still going to keep Zendaya's MJ in the movie without her being the love interest and getting replaced, unless it's some kind of weird love triangle thing. But some people were very devastated to hear this news. One said, Marvel, be honest. Do you want me to KMS? Yes or yes? And another one was glad that Zendaya is finally free from the racist, misogynistic MCU losers. Even though Spider-Man isn't, produced by Disney.
But no, it's still an MCU film. Those Spider-Man films are still MCU films. They're part of MCU canon. It's just Spider-Man is owned by Sony.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other people were excited that the possibility of making Peter Parker gay, and they think the replacement love interest should be a man.
I think the only answer is to cast Rachel Zegler as Gwen Stacy. If they really want to make $1 billion, just cast Rachel Zegler.
Do you think that they're capable of it?
No. I don't think they're that stupid.
Are they that stupid?
I don't think they're that stupid. No, I don't think they're that stupid. No, not with Spider-Man. You don't fuck around with Spider-Man that much.
I don't know. They're doing it right now. I mean, regardless of what people on the internet say, Zendaya is also a bankable star.
Yeah.
And people do want to see her and stuff. So even if that's partly because of the notoriety she gained from being in Spider-Man movies, she's a bankable star in her own right.
Just give them. So what they do is they cast Sydney Sweeney and Rachel Zegler. They'll cast Sydney Sweeney as Black Cat and Rachel Zegler as race swap.
But Sydney Sweeney is already in the Madam Web universe.
But that's not the MCU though. That's just a Sony movie.
But still, it's all getting very confusing.
It's gonna be great. And then they'll bring back Zendaya as Spider-Man in the next one.
Perfect. I'm sure that will make everyone happy.
Like I just don't see Madeline Klein as one that like she really is so like other than Glass. I think somebody said that she was in like what Outlander or whatever. Like I'm trying to think of who would be a bigger star to cast right now.
Yeah, she's not that big of a deal.
There's kind of a sweet spot of somebody. They can't be too big.
She's kind of like Madison Beer.
Yes.
This is the reason why Madison Beer, singer you probably haven't heard of yet, is not able to make her music career take off.
What about
because
Peyton
she's
List?
like too hot for her music to blow up.
Yeah.
And Madeline Klein is also in that same stratosphere
Outer
of
Banks. Thank
hotness
you guys. Thank
where she doesn't seem to be getting much play as an actress because of her looks.
What about Peyton List?
What is she doing?
Like, I'm saying, is Cobra Kai done?
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Cobra Kai's done. Do that. I don't know. There's a lot. What's Emma Roberts doing?
What is she doing anyway?
She can be.
She's still an American Horror Story.
She can be old. She can be the older, bitchier MJ, or the older, bitchier Gwen Stacy. It'll be funny. They can make her like her character in, what's it called? The one you keep trying to get me to watch.
In Scream Queens?
In Scream Queens.
Yeah, I think that chapter of her life is closed.
Be funnier if she does it as she's older. I don't know. Look, all I'm saying is if she's out of this, though. Also, there's one more thing to point out. I don't think it has anything to do with a vibe shift. I think it has everything to do with Zendaya is just a bigger, name.
Why
now.
not the vibe shift?
I don't think she needs Spider-Man. I think she could move on her own and do her own thing.
You think they tried to get her?
I don't see why not.
And
I don't see why a good storyteller wouldn't want to work their way back to that character after making him forget her, after the unbelievably contrived plot device of the magic spell that makes him forget MJ. How do you not try to write that story? With it feels like you're leaving an unbelievably obvious loose thread. Because I tell you what, people are going to want Ned back. Everybody loves Ned in those movies. So... or then do you awkwardly bring Ned back and then she's just not there and she just never comes back up?
She's trying to do things that are more serious now, right? Because she's in the Odyssey adaptation, right? Directed by
Christopher Nolan.
And
then she'll go and
she's trying to do
another
serious
Denis Villeneuve
stuff.
movie after that.
I think that's genuinely why. She feels like now she's done enough that she can be more picky, more choosy with the roles that she takes, and she doesn't want to do things that are too campy like a superhero movie anymore. She doesn't want to do it.
That's stupid.
I mean, it's whether it's stupid or not.
I'm being hyperbolic. It's the power of having choice and options.
Yeah, whether it's stupid or not, she
actually,
gets to do
you know
it.
what? Never mind. I change my mind. I kind of like it when I hate it when actors who don't care about those types of roles pretend like they do. I'd rather they're just like, I just did it because I wanted to make money and
she wants to do more
elevate my
movies about tennis and threesomes. All right, let's finish these super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, book talk reading Dostoevsky. Should they start with his book, The Idiot, or is that too on the nose and triggering for them? Probably would be, yeah. Pop Culture Junkie said, not sending an extra 20 for reading my super chat twice. Yeah, that's a freebie that you get to have.
It happens every once in a while.
Omega Red fan said, bathwater sales should be banned. Oh no, I said something not of the hive mind. It does seem like it shouldn't be legal to
Seems
sell
like a health hazard.
Your biological material to people.
Hey man, in the bathwater sales industry, it's the wild, wild west out there right now. Like it hasn't been regulated yet.
If anything, it seems like the proprietary platforms like Shopify or whatever, like payment processors are involved, wouldn't want to be involved in that mess, but Pop Culture Junkie said the center of the 30-mile zone is Beverly Boulevard and La Cienega Boulevard in LA.
Okay.
Cool. Shane H. Wilder said the crisis party sounds perfect now. Brett, man up and drink the coffee.
It's so funny. Everybody else in the chat was saying how it's awful still.
Why is it awful still? Wait, no.
I can tell you why.
What's
Mainly,
the reason?
it's so because the actual audio of the what is it, like the little voice is so faint. It's heavily distorted once you raise the audio gain as high as I did to make it come through the speakers as loud as it did. A lot of people yesterday were talking about making it an audio output. They clearly didn't listen to our discussion about why it's kept on the speaker there. But yeah, we may at some point. We probably won't use this one for too long. We may
might
need to find
Carter
one.
to.
He could EQ it probably.
He could fix it.
I literally don't do it in like Pro Tools or any audio program. I literally just make it in Premiere.
Carter could definitely fix it.
Carter is an audio guy. I am not an audio guy. I don't even have 2 working ears. You expect me to be an audio guy.
Everyone go flood Carter's inbox requesting him to do our crisis sound for us because we can't hear Baron Trump's sweet, sweet voice. Alvin McGoth said it's still bleh. I guess most people are not liking it.
Well,
okay.
they should get us to a second crisis party to really tell us how they feel.
Jeff,
preferably 3 crisis parties.
Jeff said, good. Zendaya, worst part of the Holland Spider-Man movies. She sucks as MJ. Yeah, why did they decide to shorten the name as well?
I mean, he calls her MJ, but yeah.
Just to make the character less feminine.
It's been so long since I've watched those movies, and all of those are. I watched a really interesting video. It's so funny. Those are movies that I've seen all of them once. I've seen Homecoming twice, but never really cared for them a ton. But I watched a really good video from, I believe it was Dave Cullen, making his argument as to why the second one is the best one. Not No Way Home, but Far From Home. Why Spider-Man Far From Home is the best of the trilogy. And I can't honestly say I cared enough about any of them to really have an opinion, but it's very well reasoned, and it's a great video. You should watch that at some point.
Sorenko Productions said, didn't MJ forget about Peter Parker in the last movie? Spoilers, I guess. Isn't that what would happen in the sequel if they didn't know each other, though?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just
Wait,
saying,
are you saying Peter Parker forgets about MJ or MJ forgets about Peter Parker? Because this is saying MJ forgets about Peter Parker.
Yes, so the torture, if I remember correctly, is that the spell is cast on them so that they don't remember him at all. He still knows who they are, but he cannot risk contact with them, 1, because they would have no clue who he was, and 2, it puts them at risk.
Got it.
So that's a great story. If you want to find your way back, whether it's like he has to go and track down, maybe you place that one as Spider-Man 5 in between the next Doctor Strange movie, which is weird chronologically because I believe that he's not even going to be back. I don't believe that Benedict Cumberbatch is coming back in Doomsday. He's not coming back until Avengers Secret Wars. So maybe you have to have Secret Wars end with Doctor Strange going missing or something happened to him, and maybe Spider-Man way, way, way far from like home. That's what they'll call it. Way, way far from home. Way, way far from Homecoming. He has to go track down Doctor Strange to then help him reverse the spell or something. I don't know.
Spider-Man hobo.
Yes. Vagrant. Spider-Man Vagrant.
He has a bindle.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, if she's going to be Felicia Hardy, sure, but she would not work as the girl next door Gwen Stacy at all. Madeline Klein, I'm assuming you mean?
Yes. She's
definitely not what you would call the girl next door archetype, that's for sure.
Unless you're living in the San Fernando Valley and...
Wait, what?
Where all the porns are made.
I didn't even know that. Shane H. Wilder.
They used to be. I guess it's not even true anymore because of OnlyFans.
True.
Yeah.
Now it can be all over
again,
the
it's a wild, wild west all over again.
Shane H. Wilder said, okay, I thought of another book talk experiment. Make them try to read A Confederacy of Dunces. I think that they would prefer to stick to coloring books and porn. That's more their speed.
Yeah, most likely. All right, we got 15 minutes left for them to badger us about the crisis party sound if they so desire.
Again, open to all constructive criticism.
Not really. No, I'm not really going to take your criticism.
I am open.
I'm not going to take it into account.
I am open to constructive criticism.
I am open to suggestions about, I guess, songs to put in its place, but that's more about what Mary wants.
The suitcase audio was honestly like what was important to me in the first place, more so than anything else. So I think we're gonna maybe message Carter, see if he can do anything about it.
It's just gonna be Stockholm syndrome. I'm just gonna leave it for so long. You're gonna learn to love it.
I can't tell how loud it is now to I'll have to watch it back
honestly,
later
I think
because I don't know how loud it comes off to you guys watching.
Probably not that loud. So I turned it up to like 18 dB across the board, and I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit louder. Like I tested it yesterday once I finished it, but the thing is I never want to test it at full volume here at night because there's people working, and it's one thing to make them put up with it at between 3 to 5 when they know
it only lasts like a few seconds. You know?
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
So Tammy Lee says, "Oot sucks." I think they mean it sucks. I think Tammy Lee means it sucks.
Well, we'll do our best to fix it.
Well, another one from Tacty Platty there.
Just put... Wait, what? Put back the eating cats and dogs. No. That era is over. We need to keep things evolving on this show.
Yeah.
We care about keeping the vibe fresh.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be the same thing every time. And you know what? The Suitcase remix is better, I would say.
You like it better?
I think it's actually objectively better if we could hear it properly, which is the main issue now.
Carter could probably EQ it. Maybe I can get him the raw file and see if he can do something with it, so he can get the actual audio without it distorting.
That sounded like a chainsaw. Why was that so loud?
I don't know.
Okay, that was disturbing.
Yep.
I don't know.
The where does that audio? I don't even. Can I admit something? I don't even know where that audio comes from. Like I don't even know what the
You never
is.
heard it?
Mm-mm.
You didn't see the clip of Barron Trump?
No.
Seriously?
No.
Look it up right now.
No. Okay. Where? On YouTube?
Literally just look up Barron Trump, I like my suitcase, and you need to see this right now. I thought that this didn't need explaining because
I mean, I understand what it was because like who it is and that he's in there, but you know.
No, it's like the first video of him like
this is so
speaking.
Funny. When I look up when I go to the YouTube homepage, there's a video here from Zendaya's personal personal YouTube. Does she have her own YouTube? And
Apparently.
It says my first video.
Here. I just wanted to let everyone know that this is my official YouTube channel, and this is my very first YouTube video, so I don't really know what to say. So I'm just gonna say this is a place for happy smiley faces and lots of love and dancing. So please enjoy.
We're probably gonna get copyrighted. That'd be funny, right? We get copyrighted. All right, I'm gonna go look this up.
I had no idea that Zendaya had her own YouTube channel.
That was a great like 360p camera that she was shooting onto. It's very real looking.
Yeah. Wow, that was a blast from the past. Yeah. Back when she was on Disney. She was on Shake It Up.
Okay, so it's him as like a kid, obviously. So here's the clip.
It's so cute. You're gonna love it.
I like my suitcase. I have to go to school now.
Yeah, you will have lunch and then you go to school.
Now I'm gonna go.
Yeah, first you will have lunch and then you go to school.
Okay.
That was from it was probably some like 60 Minutes thing about Trump, but they showed him. And it's so cute that he was like...
How did the audio you sent me not include the rest of the audio clips in there? It should include like him saying like, I have to go to school now.
It should, yeah. But I think people just like really latched onto it when it went viral. Yeah. And it's just so cute that he inherited Melania's accent. Mm-hmm. A lot of people assumed that just because Melania is Trump's wife, that she just would, allow her kid to get raised by nannies all the time and like not talk to him. But you can tell because he inherited her accent, they must be really close. He doesn't talk like that now, though. He lost the accent somewhere along the way.
The videos of him the AI videos have gotten out of pocket. There's one the other day where he's walking and he's eye level with the top of the White House.
Yeah, I saw that one too. But I saw the one that came before it where he's like 10 feet tall. And they just keep getting more and more extreme. Tacty Platty said, no, it's Trump winning. He won with that.
I'm so confused.
I don't think the cats and dogs moment is necessarily what led to Trump's victory in the election, but that's nice that you feel that way. Shane H. Wilder said, are you telling me the dude with a bum ear is not good at audio mixing? Blasphemy, I say. You know what? I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
It either means you think everything is quieter or louder than it actually is.
It's worse when you're you notice it the most in large groups. It's probably one of the reasons I grew to not being a fan of large groups of people, less being antisocial, more being unable to regulate your audio level, so you're either talking too quietly or too loud in a room.
I've never noticed you doing that.
I mean, we don't go to a lot of large rooms of people, so that doesn't happen much. But more annoying is when people say shh, sort of fuck you.
People say that to you?
If you're talking too loud, which can happen.
That's rude.
I mean, it's understandable if you're too loud and it's hurting their ears or something. I get why they're doing it. But on principle, I get annoyed.
I keep the audio in these headphones
very low.
All the way up.
Excuse me, yes.
All the way up. I like to hear people screaming in my eardrums.
Phil or Kellen have sat in that seat and then they put the headphones on and they go flying off as they realize that Mary is the headphones turned up pretty much the whole way.
But see, it helps me because, it gets me in the zone of doing the show.
I can't do it without headphones.
It helps me, I don't know. It just helps me pay attention to what I'm saying more than I would otherwise, or pay attention to what you're saying.
When people do IRL without headphones, it's crazy to me.
I do IRL without headphones because I know that it's not my job to govern the direction of the conversation, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And the headphones are uncomfortable.
I can't do this show or IRL without the headphones. Not
it's
at all.
Mostly the way I am. But Tacty Platty, an awesome person said, I second that. Bring back the cats and dogs. No.
Mary says no.
We had to change it at some point. Tacty Platty said, actual suggestion, have something else Trump said, something epic. We're deporting the cats, deporting the dogs, deport the cats, deport the dogs. I don't think he actually said that, though.
Yeah.
Is the thing. And I wouldn't support that anyway.
I do have an AI creation of Trump singing Rich Men North of Richmond.
Please no.
Mary would love that.
Just immediately no. Shane H. Wilder said, WTF did Brett just show us? Zendaya, not Baron.
Blame YouTube.
You kind of jump scared us.
It was on YouTube's front page.
Dr. Freakhoff said, that's an attaché.
An attaché.
Oh, an attaché case? What does that mean?
I have no idea, but I know that that's the word, but I'm guessing it's different than a regular case.
Okay.
I'm not fancy enough. I didn't go to boarding school.
Well, you go tell Baron that. Yep. Shane H. Wilder said, attaché case, you say, ooh, fancy. Yeah, it certainly sounds fancy.
I don't live in a tax bracket of attaché cases.
What does a kindergartner have in a suitcase anyway?
I don't know, but he likes it.
I guess the only important part is that he likes it.
That's all that matters.
An awesome person said, did you see the video clip of the Biden's going from smiling to not after Barron said something to him at the inauguration? Yes, I did. I thought everyone was reading into it way too much. Do you agree?
What do they think he said?
But they think he went up to Biden and was like,
checkmate.
Hey, F you. What do you... Barron is gonna go up to Biden and say, you should be in jail or whatever. And then people look at Biden's facial expression. You'll never
sniff a child again.
Yeah, exactly. And they zoom in on Biden's facial expression when it's just he's just an old guy who doesn't really have a good sense of what's going on around him.
Biden just snapped into existence again after being zoned out.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just what I would probably look like if someone said something to me that I couldn't hear that well. He probably just said thanks or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not
And plus, look, Biden's out of office now, so they're weaning him off of the CIA super drugs.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah.
Tacty Platty said deport cats and dogs was example. Brett, yes, Trump singing Rich Men North of Richmond would work. Suitcase is too niche to vibe with. Completely disagree, and I have more power over this than you. Carnell said, I think the only thing that's missing from the crisis party is a soundbite of when you both say trauma. Well, that wasn't even our thing. That we stole from Clownfish TV.
I stole that from a very specific Clownfish TV video from back in 2019 where Tim Miller talked about the trauma of Terminator Dark Fate failing at the box office, and it was the way Geeky Sparkles said
I'm sure
trauma that made
really
me
hard for him.
die laughing for like 20 minutes. It's just it's an inside joke that lives on. If I ever got a chance to like talk to them, I would specifically play them that clip and be like, but I'm not a Mark.
We have a 20 from Subject to Change. I like my suitcase, but really, New Crisis Party is perfectly kawaii.
Suitcase?
I don't want to change it. I think that you guys are just allergic to change.
Yeah.
And we're going to force you to anyway. Doesn't matter.
Suitcase?
This is a dictatorship. This podcast is not a democracy.
It's not.
Yep. I'm just practicing.
We're going to hold off until we get to the second Crisis Party at this point. I'm going to wait.
Well, we're already.
No,
see?
it's no. Oh, now it might because it's
We got another from Gordon Shumway. Or no, this is from Oh no, I got it wrong. Rena Ran That Way said, I bet that Barron whispered in Biden's ear, "You're going to die soon." I don't think he said that. That would be funny though. High Voltage 75 said, have you two ever had a heated argument about anything off camera? And after hating on it yesterday, I admit the new party song is growing on me.
Yeah, we fought about whether
we fight every day.
We do. It's
and I
pretty much,
throw things at Brett.
Like what
We all know
happens
that.
is basically we yell at each other for the entire time while we're preparing the show, and then it's one of those things where I'm just like, "Shut the fuck up, okay." Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to episode blah 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 of Pop Culture Crisis. And Mary just kind of yells and cries and then quickly wipes away the tears right before we go live.
If there's anything that this show has taught me to do, it would be to like just dissociate after Brett verbally abuses me.
That's exactly what happens every day. No, the fact that you mentioned the other day, you said like when we started doing this show, you were 21.
Yeah.
And I was like, have we really been doing this that long? Like, it's because it's like, what, you're 24 now?
Yeah, I'm 24 now.
So, you know, that's, we've been at this a while now.
Yeah, it's weird because, you know, obviously you change more from 21 to 24 than
30.
How old were you then?
I guess I would have been 34 and I'm 38 now.
Yeah, then between 34 and 38.
I was pretty much I am who I am.
Yeah, once you're like kind of set in your ways.
Yeah.
You're not as
I mean, but that's not even necessarily true because the show has evolved and changed and found its own niche, and we found a pretty good rhythm with the way we produce everything. So I tell you what, I feel bad for people that have to get up and go to work every day with people that they can't, because that is true. Like you hear stories about people like Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively who have to work together and absolutely can't stand one another. That sounds like no way to live.
Well, I mean, in that case, there was definitely more on the line.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've ever had to answer the question.
And I don't send voice memos, so we've got that going for us.
We've disagreed about things, I'm sure. I can't really think of an example right now, but I don't think we've had a...
I mean, maybe about, like, stuff to cover once in a while.
But it's not anything I would consider a heated argument.
No.
Like... We're not yelling at each other up in here.
No.
Shane H. Wilder said, I can't say anything on a new Crisis song. I got copyright struck for working Brett and Mary into Trick Daddy's Let's Go.
Let's go.
It's easy to get in trouble for those things. Surinko Productions said, thanks for voting for my dad.
Baron.
Oh, yeah. That's more likely than anything.
Luffy as God says Brett is still boring. Well, I work very hard at that. It's very hard to, sometimes in a world full of people with... purposely over-the-top opinions, to be middle of the road. It's a skill set, so thank you.
Tacty Platty said, Karen vibe check to Mary. I pay your salary. LOL, I'm kidding. Just being silly and ridiculous. Like when people say they pay cop salaries?
Oh, like taxpayers.
Thank you, guys. In an indirect way, yes.
Yeah.
You pay my salary. But we also do pay cop salaries, though. That's true. That's just true. I think we're all caught up on the super chats though.
Wait, so did Tacti Place, did we skip his last one? You went back up to that one, right?
Yeah, I got
it was just out of order here. All right, guys, before we go, let's hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel, guys, if you have not subscribed here yet already. Remember, the best way that you can help our channel grow is to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, make sure all notifications are turned on, because apparently people were saying in the chat earlier that they were not being shown our videos, and they had to go to the page directly just to see the stuff. So in lieu of drastic YouTube suppression, we ask that you check and make sure that you are still subscribed to the channel. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. All right, guys, you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify. If you want to listen rather than watch, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Helps the channel grow. Go there and give us a 5-star review, please. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisisPod. Mary, is there one more there?
Shane H. Wilder says, I can hear the I like my suitcase just fine. Okay, so everyone else's ears are just broken.
So what you're saying to everybody else is it's a skills issue.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.